have both.
Court is in session with Ryan in Sacktown on If You Don't Like That. Now, Ryan in Sacktown.
Oh, must be Ryno. Yo, what is up, David? How you doing, buddy? Yo, I love seeing all the action in the chat before the show starts. What is happening? Y'all, the Kings look to make it 3 in a row tonight in Toronto. It is Vince Carter jersey number retirement night. It is Vince Carter night in Toronto. If there was a reason for the 1-5 Raptors that are undermanned and injured to bring it for the first time this season, it's going to be tonight. So we'll talk about it on the other side. The Kings also are not unaffected by a little bit of a bug. We'll talk about that here in a second. Love having you all with us. Kings on a third game on this road trip, back-to-back. Long night last night of travel for them. So we'll break it all down for you, get to your comments, get to your calls. Welcome in, y'all, to the pregame show here on If You Don't Like That.
Late nights on the screen, hey, it's Grant and Ryan. We bleed purple, talking hoops, never lying. Sacramento Kings, we rise and we fall. If you don't like that, then you don't know ball. Jerry sitting with the stories of the game, spilling all the truth, driving legends insane. From the Cow Palace days to Arco's roar, this town's heart beats on the hardwood floor. If you don't like that, turn away now. Kings in our blood, we ride strong and proud. Running up the score, Kings never back down. If you don't like that, this ain't your town.
It's a fire new opening. I love it. What's up, y'all? It is your 3-2 Kings taking on the Toronto Raptors tonight. 1-5 on the season. Kings favored by 8.5 points in this one. As I said off the top, no Scotty Barnes. Well, I didn't say Scotty Barnes, but the Raptors are undermanned. They're injured. But your Kings without Kevin Huerter. I saw it already spreading in the chat. He has a illness. So he's not going to play tonight, which means the Kings are dipping into that rotation that is already 8, 9 at most deep. But I will say this. They are playing very good basketball right now. Really good basketball. The Raptors are an interesting team. Like I said at the beginning, Vince Carter getting his jersey retired tonight. There's going to be a lot of excitement in that building. You know that team's going to want to bring it for VC. DeMar DeRozan returning to Toronto, where he spent many great years of his career. So it's going to be a night. You've got Davion Mitchell, too. I don't know if I saw Davion's name in the chat yet. He will be suiting up for the Raptors. He's been getting a decent amount of time. He's been starting, and they've got this rookie who thinks that he might be able to make a little campaign for the Rookie of the Year. That's Jonathan Mogbo. He is a pretty talented guy, and with Scotty Barnes out, you're going to get a heavy dose of him. This is a Raptors team that is going to run a ton of pick and roll. It's going to be a little bit of ball movement. They're not particularly good at really anything, to be honest with you. Knock on wood. The one thing they are good at is steals. So turnovers tonight is going to be a very important stat for the Kings, especially with De'Aaron Fox coming off of a 6-turnover game last night. And I know he had a great game, so I'm not hating on the guy. But whether he has a finger injury or not, he's averaging 4 turnovers a game. That has got to tighten up. So we'll talk more about the keys to the game. Want to get you involved in the show tonight as well. You can call the show. The link is in the chat. I will repost it again. You can scan the QR code on the screen. We're brought to you by Bennett's Westside Grill in Rockland, the newest of their 3 locations in the greater Sacramento area. Craving prime rib? Get out there this weekend. They've got prime rib tonight and tomorrow night. Don't forget about the weekend brunch, one of my favorite things to do. And also, the specials throughout the week, the happy hour. I mean, you can't beat it. It will not break the bank. The service, the food, top notch, beautiful ambiance. Seriously, get to Bennett'sRestaurants.com. You can make reservations there, buy gift cards, and also now put in your to-go orders right there online. You want the redfish? Boom, done. Put it in online. You want the New York Prime? I suggest going in and getting the experience of having the New York Prime. You want to do it to go? Do it to go right there at Bennett'sRestaurants.com. So huge thanks to them for sponsoring today's episode of the pregame show. We've got full coverage. You know this. Jerry's going to be with us at halftime. And after the game, we open it up to all of you. Make sure that you come by. Last night, we had a good post-game show. Zach, I don't know. Zach, are you listening? Not the guru, the other Zach. Zach came in here looking to collect on his receipts, man. It's like, I told you Fox has an injured finger. I told you. He was flexing on us. You know what? I like the emotion. I like it. So bring it in. We want to hear from all of you. We're going to talk about this one here in just a second. As I said, Kings currently favored by 8.5. Now, this is weird. The open was 2.5, but ESPN.com is still listing it. They're listing it at 2.5 open, but 8.5 now. Very interesting. Anybody that's getting action, I don't take action. I just give you the line in case you want to. Let me know what you guys are seeing on there as well. As for the chat, y'all have been popping. I love it. I love seeing the pre-chat. Hello, Lydia. How you doing? I always say hi to her. She always puts that in there. MB Tutorials. That's a new one. What's up, MB? Kings 53 wins. They're going to have to play better than they are right now. We will see. The Raptors actually got down by a decent amount of points last night, and they came back a little bit, closed the gap. They can fill it up a little, but it's mostly on the perimeter. This is a game where the perimeter defense has to be on point. And I think the fact that Keon Ellis is going to be in there, that's going to help out a lot. And you know Davion's going to be fired up to get some minutes on Fox, get some minutes on his own teammates. He knows them as well as anybody else in that building. But ultimately, this is a game that the Kings should win on paper. This should be a no-brainer. But unfortunately, I'm going to hit you with some cold, hard truth. Last night was a long travel night. Not saying it was extra long, but to go from where they were last night and fly from Atlanta all the way to Toronto, go through customs and do what you do, and then have a quick turnaround where you're playing again at 4:30 our time, 7:30 on the East Coast. It has all the trappings, and I hate to say it, it has everything of a trap game. If the Kings are going to drop one on this road trip, I feel like this is the one. Now, do I think they drop it tonight? No. But they've got to not have any lapses like they had last night. Now, De'Aaron Fox talked about it, and I said this a couple of games ago when the Kings ended up starting this road trip out in Utah. The Kings lost their first 2 games because of 2 lapses. I don't need to explain them. You know exactly what they were. And you thought a third one was coming last night when the Hawks tied the game. But guess what? No. That was the big takeaway. The Kings come back. DeMar DeRozan gets a couple of buckets right there, slows it down. De'Aaron gets a bucket, and all of a sudden the lead's pushed out. Foxy talked about that after the game last night.
And obviously calls not go our way, but at the end of the day, obviously, you know, a 20-point lead in the league now isn't even looked at as a big deal anymore. And they came back, but we were able to respond. And I think that was the bigger thing. That was the biggest thing that you take away from this game is we got up, they came back, and we were able to respond and not lose the lead.
100%. That was the biggest thing to take away from last night, because when you're on a road trip like this, especially a building like Atlanta, we hit it pretty hard last night. The energy there is just so poor. You really got to get your own thing going. And then once that energy picks up, if they end up doing something like Trae Young hits that corner long 2-pointer where you thought they took the lead, then you got yourself into a little bit of a hole, but they dug themselves out. So really happy about that. There's the Raptors statistics for you. We'll put some more up here in just a few minutes. Want to keep getting to your chats. I'm going to get to as many as I can tonight. Dennis, it's going to be a bench night for sure. It's going to be a hard back-to-back with jet lag. There's no jet lag, Dennis. Dennis, you're in the same time zone, dude. No jet lag. It's just simply tired. You're traveling. This has been a goofy ass road trip because you start in Atlanta, you go to Toronto, and then you come all the way back to Miami. Well, excuse me, you started in Utah, but the East Coast portion of this trip, the NBA schedule, and I get you have to coordinate all the different arenas and whatnot, but this made no sense. This should have been one that started on the second game in Toronto. Then you go to Atlanta, then you go to Miami or Miami and then Atlanta, whatever. You just don't make the trip back and forth. But yeah, that's going to be a little bit of a long night. Joe, what's up? I'm not Grant. I'm a little bit younger than that dude, but he'll be here at halftime. He will definitely be here. Let's see. Hoping. Okay. Yeah, we're not going to do politics. If you do politics, we're not going to put it on the screen. Just FYI. We are almost to the finish line of everything going on. You get what I'm saying? We've got, 3 or 4 days left? Let's just keep it away from here. Politic-free zone. Let's see. Levin Keon off the bench. Hope him and Monk go off. Okay. That is where you're going to have another key to the game tonight. Now, the bench did a little bit better last night. Keon Ellis had 10 points in the first quarter, ends up finishing with 12 overall. But Trey Lyles, defensively, no problem whatsoever. Trey has got to get his game going offensively. We are past the point of standing behind the three-point line and hoping the ball goes in. He has got to get some stuff going to the rim. He's got to get to the free throw line. I know he knocked one down last night, and you saw him. He's like, oh, finally, right? But no, in a game like this where you don't have Kevin Huerter, when you don't have Domantas Sabonis, by the way, fouled out twice now in 5 games. Twice in 5 games. So let that be a reminder, and that was with 2 minutes left in this Hawks game, of what the Kings were forced to go into if you don't have Domas available. You're going small ball, period, end of story. But Trey is the one that's coming in for Domas in that situation. And Trey is such an important part of that rotation that offensively, you need more. It's got to start happening. And Coach Brown doesn't have another place to turn. Doug McDermott's not playing center for you. Orlando Robinson is not ready at this point. But Trey Lyles is a key tonight. I don't want to see him camping behind the three-point line. Get something to the hoop. Get moving, get to the free throw line. We know he can finish at the rim. Look, Keegan Murray all the time. Back cuts, right there, it's open. Foxy cuts all the time, it's open. Trey Lyles can do the same. And I get the second unit plays a little bit of a different style, a little more pick and roll. Trey Lyles needs to be better tonight. Period. End of story. Turnovers, yes. Sorry, Dennis, I'm going to all yours. I don't know why. Lydia King, she's already putting her scores in here. 119, 110. All right. I'm going to skip to the bottom and then we'll go up. Let's see. Adam's making jokes, of course. If the bench can step up, the Kings will make it to the conference final. Okay, we're getting way too ahead of ourselves, y'all. Can we just focus on this one? Jason, I love you, my SDSU brother. But can we focus on this one? Let's get by Toronto tonight on Vince Carter night, which is a special night for Toronto. Really the first star Toronto ever had. And think about what Vince has done for the game of basketball. Think about what Vince even did on the end of the bench for the Kings. He was as much of a coach as he was a player during his time in Sacramento. Yeah, he had that big night a few years back, and what he's done in broadcasting. I'll let Grant speak to that once Grant's on here and we're doing the post-game show. But much respect to Vince Carter. This is going to be a very special night for that fan base and a very special night for him as well. Yeah, Adam, Kevin got sick. We know. What do we got? Oh, Bane hopping in. Bane, dude. Bane. Don't make me defend you on the post-game show like I had to do last night. Bane, look at me. Bane, I'm talking to you. Bane, that's like the third time Grant's almost gone off on you, dude. Bane, help me out. I'm a fan of yours. Bane, you got it? All right, we're good. Needed to make sure that we got that. Tired from traveling isn't jet lag. Jet lag is okay. You can go look up the definition of jet lag. Jet lag is crossing across different time zones and having your body clock completely effed up, Dennis. We went through this last year with I think it was Kyle that said, "Oh, the Kings, the travel to Houston, the jet lag." What? No. And I love Kyle. Kyle's a great dude. But no, there's no jet lag involved here. Absolutely not. Now, you do have the time difference. That is going to play a role with Miami. That's not going to play a role here because you're going to have daylight saving time. But the Kings have a day off in between to get acquainted. All right, let's look at some of the Raptors stats for you, tell you what they do well. Like I said, turnovers. They are pretty darn good in the steal department. We'll pop down here, 7th in the league at steals. So the Kings are going to have to be very, very careful with what they do. Also, Jakob Hurdle is an excellent pick and roll player. Excellent. And so with no Emmanuel Quigley tonight, he is still out for Toronto. It's going to be all eyes on Jonathan Mogbo. This is going to be his team tonight with Jakob. What can they get going offensively? Also, don't forget about Grady Dick. Yes, I know most of you are going to reference the photo and the jersey exchange he did last season. Ha, ha, ha. Funny, funny, funny. But dude can fill it up. Not saying that he is an NBA All-Star, but for this Toronto team, Grady can fill it up. In fact, I look at what he did last night. He was in the 30s last night. Here's how it went for the Raptors. He had 31. RJ Barrett last night, who we haven't mentioned, 33 last night. So RJ, a little bit more of an ISO guy. You got to look for that. Davion, he was in double digits, 10. Jakob, 19. So Mogbo played 21 minutes last night, 8 points off the bench. I expect him to get more than 21 here tonight. And don't give this Toronto team a reason to believe. You just can't do it. You got to knock this Toronto team off their feet right from the start. And that's going to be difficult simply for the fact that the Kings are on another back-to-back with a long travel. Not making up a built-in excuse, but that is a long travel. So, but you're catching them at a very important time simply because Scotty Barnes, their star, is out and he will not be playing for a significant period of time, at least a month. He has a fractured orbital bone, meaning when the Kings return to Sacramento, no Scotty Barnes. So the Kings have the table set for him. It always seems to set up this way where teams are missing their stars when the Kings are on the road, and this is it. So you can't play the type of defense that Coach Brown and Luke Laux called tonight. In fact, I understand why they played that defense last night. Makes sense. Don't let Trae Young get anything going. Make everybody else beat you. Don't let Trae Young get downhill. Well, guess what? Everybody else almost beat you last night in that game, and you put the Kings defense into constant rotation, meaning somebody was inevitably open. How about Matthews knocking down 7 3-pointers? This is not a game where you should see zone defense. This is not a game where there should be any zone traps. I think you certainly should still be picking up full court and be pesky and put pressure on them, push them off their spots, make them uncomfortable. But in terms of scheme, like you saw last night, no chance. If we see that, then it's going to be a problem for the Kings because this Toronto team has no player like Trae Young suiting up for them tonight. Anyways, that is the Toronto stats. I do want to talk a little bit about this because we heard from De'Aaron a second ago, speaking on the importance of the Kings not giving up that lead. Super important. I think not only internally to that team, but to this fan base. The way they lost the first 2 games, the way they lost games last year, a big reason that the Kings were not able or did not give up that lead last night was DeMar DeRozan. Here's what De'Aaron had to say about the importance of stunting runs like that with having DeMar on the court and what DeMar told him during the game last night.
He plays at such a steady pace. Whenever they were going on a run, he looks at me, he's like, let's get something easy. And I think we end up getting down there. They make a switch. We end up getting downhill, drop off layup. And it's just knowing where the shot's coming from, or knowing who's able to create the advantage in an action. And like I said, he makes it very easy for us to do things like that.
Amen. Amen. Look at the sunlight coming through the studio. I am sorry that I have sun on me. I did not expect this. Anyways, all right, let's get back to the chat. Want to keep hearing from all of you. If you would like to call the show, would love to have you. We're marching closer and closer to the tip-off between the Kings and the Raptors. Again, full coverage here tonight. Grant and Jerry will be here at halftime with all of us, giving us our thoughts on the first half. Thank you, MC. Please, if you don't mind, give us that thumbs up, give us that like, give us that retweet. We would greatly, greatly appreciate it. And by the way, on that note, if you are not already subscribed, if you are not part of the 7.3 thousand already subscribed to If You Don't Like That, scan that QR code. We would love to have you come on board. Just let you know when we go live. You can find our entire library of content right there in one spot. By the way, too, we don't just do these pre-post and halftime shows. We have a ton more content over the past 3 seasons, exclusive interviews, daily Kings Court, all that. So go check it out if you haven't already. But please, thumbs up would be greatly appreciated. Good job by UMC. Can't really argue much with what the Kings have been doing. The numbers look good. They look really good. Now, the 3-pointers, we got to talk about that. Percentage needs to come up. The Kings still went through stretches last night where they took bad shots. And my little, I don't want to say rant, but my pep talk for Trey Lyles earlier, that's a little directed at him. There were bad shots that Trey took last night, and that helped spur that run by Atlanta. Coach Brown talked a little bit about last night, what he liked and what he thought was important from the game. Here's what Coach Brown had to say.
Right. But on top of that, I thought we had enough stretches where we took good shots. There was a stretch here, a stretch there that we didn't take a good shot or turned it over, and that's what got them back in the game or helped them with their run and helped them even get the lead. But if we have the mindset of trying to defend the right way, we have enough scorers and playmakers and guys that know how to play the right way to be able to put points on the board. I thought we had some good looks from the 3-point line from guys that normally knock them down for us. I mean, wide open looks, and they just didn't go in tonight, but we got to keep shooting them.
I.e. Trey Lyles. Yeah. Trey, again, got to be more aggressive. You got to keep shooting them. Now, I saw another glimpse of what I was concerned about and Coach Brown was concerned about after the Utah game, and that's the Kings passing up great shots for good or bad shots. That has to stop. If the Kings are open, Keon Ellis did it a couple times. Kevin Huerter did it towards the end of the game. Trey Lyles, he didn't really do it because he shot. But, man, I sound like a Trey hater. I'm not trying to hate on the guy. I love Trey Lyles. I just want to see him get his game going. But the Kings, Malik Monk, has to be better about staying on his feet before you're going to make the play. Unless you know where you're going, don't leave your feet. Because this Toronto team, as you looked at with the numbers, they are very good at taking the ball. One of the few things that they do well, 7th in the NBA in steals. Yes, dude, I did save you. Michael, great question. Who's taking the final shot with the game on the line? I don't think, Michael, that Coach Brown has a list of he's our number 1. DeMar's our number 2. Sabonis is our number 3. The way this team plays with the free-flowing offense, where on any given night, it could be, and the balance on this team has been perfect so far. Now, you might say you need Keegan Murray to get going a little bit more, which I agree with. That will come in time. We hit it on the post-game show last night. But between your 3 stars, balance is excellent. That's what you want it to be when you run a free-flowing offense like the Kings do. So when it comes to the end of the games, it's going to depend on who's got it going that night. Who's got the hot hand at the time. Some nights it might be Malik. It might not even be somebody in the starting lineup. But look, we saw one glimpse of it, and that was in the Minnesota game, and DeMar DeRozan was inbounding the ball. I don't think you put a ton of weight into that decision there because the Kings had no timeouts remaining. That ball had to get in. And that's why you put the ball in DeMar DeRozan's hands, inbounding it. And hell, he actually went off of schedule. He did not go to the spot that the Kings wanted it to go to. He cross-courted it to Keegan for that shot that Keegan ultimately missed. But it's going to change any given night, which is fine. That is the trait of a great team. I shouldn't say a great team, a good team. That keeps the defense on their heels. Aaron, what's up, man? Start with the end in mind and build backwards like a building. Starting five are solid. It's the bench. Okay, so your bench is actually your 5 through 8 is pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. Could it be better? Sure. But Keon, Malik, Trey Lyles, that's a good 8-man rotation, especially with what you have coming off the bench. I agree. The bench has to be much better than it has been. Sans Keon last night and a couple of dunks from Malik, the bench would have had that same problem that we've seen throughout the season with scoring. Now, the energy was a little bit better with the bench unit, but you just need to get them going. I think last year, the biggest difference that I am seeing right now with the bench this year versus last year, and remember, Trey Lyles did not play all of the preseason. He got one scrimmage in with the Kings before the regular season began, and then he ended up playing on opening night. So it's going to take him a little bit of time to get his legs under him. Kevin Huerter's kind of been the exception to the rule because he started off playing so well, both offensively and defensively. But last year with the bench unit, Malik was doing a ton of pick and roll with Domantas Sabonis. Domas has not been on the floor as much with Malik in that second unit. And I think that is partially affecting this second unit because you can't ask that second unit to run the exact same system the first unit's running because you have completely different players. And I get the Kings don't do wholesale substitutions. I understand that, but at the end of the day, you want to have certain matchups on the court together, and Domas and Monk is one of them. So if I'm Coach Brown, I'm looking at a way to get Trey Lyles and Domas Sabonis on the floor at the same time, or somehow get Trey Lyles a different place in the rotation, same type of minutes, but just different timing, because the pick and roll is exactly what that second unit should be feasting on. And it's a good thing because it gives the defense a different look. It gives them a totally different aspect of the Kings rather than just the back door, rather than the 3-pointers, rather than, rushing the rim. Like, I just feel like there's not enough structure with the second unit. And structure is not a word you hear a ton of with this Kings team. So that's my thought on it, but you definitely need more. No doubt about it. Just found out, what's up, Rich? That we have 107 members on Facebook, fans in San Diego. Nice, dude. Are you the head of that? BJ, what's up, man? Just going to take some reps. Can't expect the bench mob. Yeah, definitely not the bench mob. Now, what website is my stuff from? That's a great one screen of everything. Yeah, it's Basketball Reference. Basketball Reference, David. I got you, brother. Yeah, they're gonna be different. I'm solid with the bench, but yeah, exactly. They need to step up more. What's up with the Kings attendance? They've only had a couple of home games, Lids. That's total attendance. So that, and the arena is what, 17-3 I think is the capacity for the arena. So that's why it's right around 34. Let's see. Hello, peoples. 2 beam light ups. Yes. Let's do the same damn thing. Love the chat. Thank you, BJ.
Acknowledge me.
Gotta acknowledge my man BJ. And remember, we are back here at halftime. Grant and Jerry will be here. Dougie McBuckets, Furious Wolf wants some Dougie. Dougie's not going to play a ton. Will he play tonight? I think Dougie McBuckets will play tonight with Kevin Huerter out. Dougie McBuckets can kind of supplement a little bit, not at the same level, but a little bit of what you get, or simulate, I should say, a little bit of what you get from Kevin Huerter, especially with the movement. If you haven't taken a few minutes to watch Dougie while he's on the court, that dude never stops moving. That is exactly the type of player that Mike Brown wants in this kind of system that they are running. So yeah, I would expect Dougie McBuckets to get some minutes. And in fact, Trey Lyles doesn't start shooting that ball a little bit better, I wouldn't be surprised if Coach Brown gives Dougie a try. Now, different positions, but definitely Coach might shake it up. The bottom line, again, and I'll go back to the stats. The bottom line is this is a team the Kings should beat. But do not be surprised if this is a close game. I will not be surprised if the Kings lose this game. Second night of a back-to-back, Vince Carter night in Toronto. You've got young guys. Seriously, think about this. You've got Grady Dick. You've got Keon Ellis. Jonathan Mogbo, rookie, who's actually playing pretty damn good. Could be a dark horse if Toronto gets rolling for Rookie of the Year. These guys are not featured guys usually. Right now, with Scotty Barnes out, they are being the featured group. And don't forget about Jakob Poeltl. Jakob Poeltl is a very solid player, great pick and roll player. So the Kings are going to have their hands full. This is not going to be an easy victory by any means. In fact, if the Kings blow the Raptors out, I would be shocked. Shocked, just simply because of the circumstances around it. Kevin Huerter out. It has all the trappings, and not even a bad loss. It wouldn't even be a bad loss. This is not a Portland loss last year, a Detroit loss last year. This is a schedule loss. This is what that is. If the Kings lose this, but give a good effort, it's a schedule loss. But I still think at the end of the day, they should win. Just saying, I would not be surprised. So anyways, get your final scores in. We'll get to those here in a few minutes. Light the beam. Yes, indeed, Lydia. I'd love a win, but expecting a loss, unfortunately. I just don't want to sugarcoat things with all of you. I usually don't. It's just, you have guys that are trying to, in Toronto, and doing a decent job of it, find their way without their star. You've now got RJ Barrett, who's been around. Obviously, time in New York City didn't go as great as he wanted it to, but a good pickup nonetheless for the Raptors. You've got the rookie Mogbo, who I've talked about. You've got Huerter. They're all trying to find out, what are we going to be right now? And by the way, they're 1-5. If there was ever a time to rally the damn troops and get a victory, like if you're in that locker room right now and that building's full of energy because of Vince Carter, and you're looking at your opponents who just played last night in Atlanta in a close game, not to mention the minutes that the starters are playing for the Kings. 33 for Sabonis, 38 for DeRozan, 36 for Foxy, 38 for Keegan. Malik played 29. If I'm in that the Toronto locker room, I'm thinking this is the game. If we're going to get a second one this season, it's got to be this one. Confidence has to be high amongst that group. And again, they played last night as well. They played the Lakers, so they are on a back-to-back, but they did not have to travel. And they're coming off of actually a pretty damn good second half because they were getting blown out in the first half last night. They rally up and only lose by 6. So anyways, Kings and the Raptors getting ready to tip off here in just a few minutes. Happy to have you here, Ryan in Sacktown, getting you ready for the tip off. Remember, we've got halftime with Grant and Jerry. So make sure you come on back. Would love to have you. Get Jerry's thoughts on the first half, and also get Jerry's thoughts. I already know Jerry's thoughts on this place, Bennett's West Side Grill. Jerry and I, to be transparent, when Jerry and I go to lunch, we end up at the Roseville location because it's easier for him. But get out to Bennett's. The West Side Grill is their newest location in Rockland. Also, like I said, one in Roseville, the other off of Howe in Fair Oaks. If you go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com, you will see exactly why you can find us there all the time. When Grant's in town, he usually eats there 2 times a day. No exaggeration. That's how, like, every time, actually, every meeting, with the exception of one, when Grant came to Elk Grove and came to my place, we have always been at Bennett's, and it's not because they're a sponsor. It's because the food is that damn good. Brian and Margot and the team out there have found a beautiful mix of American cuisine with a modern spin and awesome ambience, incredible service, and super, super feasible prices for the food that you're getting in the portion sizes. Seriously, if you go to the website, Bennett'sRestaurants.com, I got to quit saying seriously. But if you go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com, you'll see all the different specials they have pretty much all throughout the week and the weekend. Happy hour, Monday through Friday, 2 to 6. Monday night wine and dine, 2 entrees, bottle of wine, under $70. Weekend brunch, 2 entrees, bottle of champagne, under $50. How about weekend prime rib as well? I'm telling you. And with the holidays coming up, make sure you pay attention to the website. They will be putting out their holiday menus if you don't like to cook, and you can reserve one of their private dining rooms for office parties, get-togethers, family events. I know my boy Rich in San Diego did a big to-go order with Bennett's and said they did an incredible job. So what I'm telling you is you got to go give it a try. Dennis, give it a shout out. You go there all the time too. But seriously, get to... I'm going to put a coin jar, can't talk right now, coin jar behind me. Every time I say seriously, I'm going to put a coin in there. Anyways, get to Bennett'sRestaurants.com and go check out everything they have to offer. You can make your reservations, buy gift cards, and much more right there on the website, and put your to-go orders in, which is super cool and convenient now. I'm going to get that coin jar for sure. I got to quit saying that word. It is a bad habit. Under $50, that's a lot of money for a meal. Not if you're getting a bottle of champagne, Lids. If you're getting a bottle of champagne, that is a run away deal. Now, if you don't drink, I get that. Maybe that's not a great deal for you. But those that do partake in a cocktail at dinner or a glass of wine at dinner, it's hard to beat. You can't get through the McDonald's drive-through for under 30 or 40 bucks these days if you have 2 or 3 people in the car. It's nuts. Watch game or go eat. Why not both? Furious Wolf, you can do both. Take us on the go. You can do that. Let them know that you heard about them here on the show. Look, Rich is in. Oh, yeah. Little Faith, we can take down the Raptors tonight. Yeah, I think this Kings team can. I absolutely think they can. Again, I'm just saying it would not surprise me if they get caught here. But remember, yeah, it might be Vince Carter night there, but it's also DeMar DeRozan returning to Toronto. We want to talk about Davion getting some get back against his old team. It's also DeMar coming to Toronto. He is going to be very warmly received there tonight. So it's going to be a festive atmosphere. I'm actually very happy that this is the game that they're doing Vince Carter's retirement. How cool is that for some of the Kings that played with Vince, some of the Kings that idolized Vince growing up? I know DeMar, Vince, Sam Cassell, a couple different guys had a lot of influence on his game. So really cool. And for all of you, I'm sure that it's going to be pretty cool to watch on TV. They'll show flashes. You'll get memories of it. So I think it's a cool thing. Let's see. All right, give me your final scores as we get ready to wrap up. Bane, Bane, are you still walking on thin ice, man. Davion Mitchell revenge game? I don't think so. I don't. Davion defense, he's going to be a little pesky. He will definitely be a little pesky. What I worry about is Grady Dick, Mogbo, Hurdle, especially the Grady Dick and Hurdle connection tonight. And then obviously RJ Barrett. You can contain him. He is not crazy explosive, very fundamental with his game. Oh, my man, I have not talked to this guy in a minute. I am so happy he is calling. PJ, what's up, dude?
How's it going, guys? Can you hear me okay? I'm out here
You're
in
still
the
up
pickleball arena.
Yeah, you
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Right on, right on. I just wanted to pop on real fast and say I've been following you and listening to the chat, and every now and then I pop in there. Of course, I love Uncle Grant, the redheaded stepchild of Sucktown. I'll always follow him. He's one of my heroes, of course.
Yeah.
He's got my dream job. Couple things tonight. What I'm looking for, I would really like to see. It's nice to see you, Mr. Ryno. Also, it really is.
Good to
I
see
love
you,
you, my
buddy.
man. I would like to see the Kings on offense move the ball around a couple of times. And I remember when I was coaching my sons, I always said, make them play some defense, make them actually react and use a little bit of energy. And in doing so, I would like to see, that's my second part of my point would be, I'd like to see Keegan get some rhythm, maybe run a couple plays, get him loosened up. And his shot is there. The thing that I noticed the last game was that he was shooting and he was so stiff. And it's a rhythm thing. And he, I'm not a professional basketball player, but I have played hoops. And he just seemed like he wasn't bending his knees. As basic as that sounds, he just seemed out of rhythm, out of step. And, it's going to come around. But tonight's a perfect night. Move the ball around, make them play defense, use a little bit of the clock, take shots. The old adage in basketball is take what they give you. And if they keep giving you something that is great, take it until they stop it. I like to see some high pick and roll, some of that stuff, and kind of use up the clock, kind of like the running game in football. You know what I mean? What do you think about that?
I think it's all good stuff. Now, it's a tricky balance, BJ, because we know the pace the Kings want to play at, and the Raptors actually play with decent pace and fast breaks. They number one actually in fast break points in the NBA, number one in points in the paint as well. So I think the Kings can beat them either way. And as for your point about Keegan Murray, just like we've seen Mike Brown right out of the gate run a couple plays for Kevin Huerter in the past few games, I want to see that for Keegan Murray too. You make an excellent point.
I agree. And hey, we still got to get together. Maybe Finchy can smoke some tri-tip and some steaks, and we could watch a game. That'd be cool. I'd love to meet you out at Bennett's also. Maybe have a little sit down, have a dinner or a lunch or something. I'd love to do that.
Brother.
I know you're busy, but when I'm in town, that'd be awesome.
Absolutely. We will get that figured out. And we're also going to be, we're going to be doing a big watch party at some point this season when Grant's back in town at Bennett. And we'll be doing away games. So anybody that might be going to the games usually can come and hang with us. So we're not going to shave our heads this year, but we're still going to get together. So
nice. All righty. I love you. You guys take care, and I'll be seeing you at halftime.
Love you too, buddy. Be well.
Later.
All right, that is BJ. Good job, BJ. Good call, my man. Good call. There you go. See, Dougie. Told you you're going to see some Dougie tonight. There you go. That is why you have a Doug McDermott on your team. I think it's a smart move. You don't screw with your bench rotation. He fills in pretty seamlessly. Now, you're going to lose something on defense, but he fills in seamlessly for Kevin. Yeah, I think it's a great move. Great move. That's why you have Doug on your team right there. He is a professional. And guess what? Here's the most important thing about Doug McDermott. One of the big unexpected things with Kevin Huerter this season, and we'll end on this, is the fact that Kevin has helped the Kings spacing so much because he shot the three ball so well. He's commanding that attention again. Guess what? Doug McDermott, he's going to get all that same attention, if not more. You can't leave him open. You can't hang off of him. So this keeps things as normal as you possibly can with your starting lineup and your rotation off the bench. Smart move by Mike Brown. Good job by all of you for throwing that into the chat. As I said, the Raptors also pretty good. Fast break points, first in the league. So they're going to want to run. Points in the paint. Points in the paint is always such an important stat for the Kings, especially this year. This year, when the Kings win the points in the paint, they usually win the game. So can they beat the best team in the NBA at that? We will see. And can they do it without fouling? That is also the big thing. Hey, appreciate each and every one of all of you. BJ had to get his last minute prediction in. There you go. 101-100. I think it's going to be a little bit higher scoring than that. But yeah, I'll give you my prediction at halftime. I think the Kings ultimately win. I'll tell you that. I think the Kings win. So, all right, y'all. It's been a fun pregame show. Thank you all so much for being here. Don't forget that we are back at the end of the first half. Grant and Jerry will be here. Bane, stay out of trouble. Please, Bane, stay out of trouble. Stay out of trouble. Don't get on our radar tonight. No, I'm just kidding, buddy. I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for making it a fun pregame show. Remember, keys that we talked about, turnovers. Kings have to be better. Turnovers have to be better, especially De'Aaron Fox. Raptors are 7th in steals. Pace, we've talked about the spacing now that Dougie is in the starting lineup. Trey Lyles has to get going in the points in the paint. Got to limit him. Play physical without fouling. All right, y'all. Let's make it a good first half. Go Kings. Light the damn beam. Stay the hell away from Levine. We'll see you at the end of the first half right here on If You